In chapter 1079 of Hajime no Ippo, Mamoru Takamura introduced the concept of the line, a hypothetical line that separates humans from monsters, a line that separates average boxers from those who have the ability to take the world into their own hands. Ever since then, more than 400 chapters ago, many have wondered, what must happen for Ippo to cross that line? What must happen for Ippo Makunuchi, our protagonist, to become a monster? But what if I told you that, in my opinion, Ippo will never be a monster? Ippo will never cross that line drawn by Takamura. And that's what we'll talk about today. We'll talk about the times when Ippo gave in, when he was overtaken by emotions, when he acted like a true monster, and why I believe that is not the right path for our protagonist. Let's begin. The first time Ippo was possessed by emotions and became a monster, so to speak, was in his fight against Hisato Kojima. This boxer was a huge fan of Ippo, to the point that he dropped 2 weight classes just to face him in a professional ring. Kojima had beastly destructive power. His punches were compared to being hit by a moving car. He wanted Ippo, the man he admired, to give absolutely everything. So he had a brilliant idea, if we can call it that, to provoke him. He started by speaking badly about Ippo's former opponents, calling them weak, calling them useless, calling them poor boxers. This made Ippo angry, and not only that, it made him feel bad. Because if there's something that defines Ippo, it's the admiration and respect he feels for his fellow boxers, for the people he's fought. But the last straw was not just Kojima talking bad about past rivals. It was when he spoke badly about Ippo's coach. Kojima said that Ippo's real weakness was the man who trained him, that it was the fault of his useless and incompetent trainer. That made Ippo feel true hatred. Something dark was born inside him, something not positive at all. He couldn't sleep the night before the match. He had a very strange and suspicious attitude. He even said something I never thought I'd hear from Ippo. This won't take long. He stepped into the ring as if it were a street fight. He forgot his usual style. He rushed in, very erratic. He threw a very predictable punch. And just like that, he was hit with a devastating counter, as if a truck had hit him. Ippo was in trouble. He was one step away from being knocked out. All those feelings started to overwhelm him. His former opponents, his past experiences, and of course, his coach, Genji Kamogawa. Those thoughts helped Ippo endure the pain, and with a face full of anguish, a face of total suffering, and then rage, Ippo unleashed a punch so powerful that it sent his opponent flying, a punch that only a monster like Takamura could throw. One thing was made very clear in those chapters. That was not boxing. That was Ippo showing pure violence. And of course, he felt terrible after the match, because he had betrayed his training. He had betrayed everything he had learned over the years. He made it very clear, letting his emotions take over was a horrible decision. The second time Ippo lost control was with his student, Taihei Aoki. Ippo had been training him for a long time. Let's remember, Taihei was a bully who used to get into street fights. The condition Ippo gave him was that he had to leave violence behind and focus only on boxing. Ippo trusted Taihei, that's why he kept training him. But one stormy night, Taihei broke that trust. He used the very skills Ippo had taught him for violence. Ippo tried to stop him. He tried to talk to him calmly, lovingly. He tried to tell him to stop the violence, to come back to training. He was holding in his hands the mitts of Genji Kamogawa, the very same mitts that caught Ippo's first punches at the gym. Taihei didn't care. He disrespected Ippo. He disrespected the meaning of those mitts. He punched them and sent them flying. Ippo ran to pick them up, full of anguish. He stood up, and something inside him had changed. Even his face looked monstrous. It scared Umezawa himself. Then Ippo slapped Taihei hard. He knocked him out, sent him flying a few meters. It was complete madness. Ippo came back to his senses and realized what he had done, and he felt horrible. We had never seen Ippo with such a face. The guilt was overwhelming. So much that the next day, he went to the police to turn himself in. Of course, nothing happened. There was no complaint filed, but he was genuinely ready to go to jail for what he did, for that monstrous behavior. As a way to atone, Ippo shaved his head completely bald. The third time we saw the monster inside Ippo was during his sparring match against Vorg Zangief. This time, it wasn't negative emotions that took over. It was the opposite. It was obsession, an obsession with helping his friend, with being useful. Ippo gave everything in that sparring, to the point where he broke Vorg's ribs. That little trauma of hurting a friend before an important fight still haunts Ippo to this day. Before his sparring with Ryo Mashiba, Ippo literally said he was afraid of hurting Ryo. And of course, the same thing happened again in his sparring with Takeshi Sendo. Ippo refused to throw punches. He was too afraid of hurting someone else. Every time Ippo has acted like a monster, he's regretted it. He's felt guilt. He's felt anxiety. All of this, along with Ippo's peaceful nature, makes it impossible, in my mind, to see him as a monster, to imagine him acting like Takamura, or Ricardo Martinez, or even Sendo or Mashiba in their world-ranking fights. And if you ask me, I wouldn't mind at all if Ippo never becomes a monster. If he never dares to cross that line Takamura drew on the grass, because the world of ranked boxers in Hajime no Ippo is already full of monsters. And I think the perfect role for Ippo would be to be the complete opposite, maybe a hunter, or a destroyer of monsters. We've already seen how talented Ippo is as a boxer, how much strength he has, what incredible technique he's developed, and all of it without becoming a monster. Making Ippo the only world-ranked boxer who's not a monster would make him even more unique, and would become a powerful tool in the story's narrative. This whole discussion reminds me of the conversation between Takeshi Sendo and Sawamura Rai after Ippo destroyed Sawamura and sent him to the hospital. Sendo told Sawamura, "Ippo's fists are different from yours, different from mine. They're not fists that break you and keep you from standing up again. They do the opposite, they lift you up." And I believe that makes total sense. Monsters in the boxing world, they bury you. They cause retirements. They cause permanent injuries. They can even cause deadly accidents, if you know what I mean. But Ippo, with his punches, does the opposite. He makes you want to be better, to get stronger, to fight again someday, to earn a rematch. Just like all of his rivals have felt, his punches don't bury you, they lift you up. And that's it for today. That is why, in my opinion, Ippo will never be a monster. Don't forget to subscribe for more Hajime no Ippo content. Good night, champ.